Hello, blessings to you guys. Welcome to our mathematics revision class. My name is Mr. Tauzeni. Today we are focusing on factorizing cubic functions. Factorization of cubic functions. This comes especially when you are given a cubic equation and you need to find the x-intercepts so that you may be able to draw the graph of the cubic function. So that needs us to be able to factorize that equation. Look, I've gotten an example here that I would like us to discuss. This comes from one of the past examination papers for grade 12. Now consider the function f of x is equal to x cubed minus 3x squared minus x plus 3. Show that x minus 1 is a factor of f of x. Factorize f of x fully and solve for x if f of x is equal to 0. Right, important in mathematics, like I always say, is that when you are doing maths, pay attention to the method, to the idea behind the answer. Not particularly the answer, but the idea behind the answer. How are we doing this? What method is informing our calculations? That is what we need to pay attention to. Let's have a look at question number 1.1. Now, x minus 1 is a factor of f of x, and we need to show that. What understanding are we supposed to have for us to be able to do that? So, our answer goes as follows. If x minus 1 is a factor of f of x, it means in the equation given, f of 1 is equal to 0. If we equate this equation to 0, the value of x, one of the values there, must be 1. That's what it means. So x minus 1 is a factor, means x is equal to 1 when f of x is equal to 0. So to answer your question, or to prove as is required by the question, you simply substitute x with 1 and work out that answer. So if we substitute x with 1, we're going to have 1 cubed minus 3 times 1 squared minus 1 plus 3. We simplify, the answer is 0. That is the proof necessary. We must get 0 to show that x minus 1 is a factor of the expression. So once again, if x minus 1 is a factor, it means x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 0. If x plus 1 is a factor, then it would mean that x minus 1 x is equal to negative 1. If x plus 1 is a factor, then x will equal to negative 1 when y equals to 0. And how do you prove it? You simply substitute x with the given value and your answer must be 0. Then let's go to the big, which is the factorization. Now, we want to factorize this expression, and the method that I'm applying here is called synthetic division. So it works like this. The value of x that we are getting from one factor of x, we write that value first. So x equals to 1. That is the one that I've just written here. X equals to 1. Then these other positions, 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers, they are the coefficients of the expression or equation that I am factorizing. The x cubed, the coefficient is 1. X squared, the coefficient is negative 3. X, the coefficient is negative 1. And the last number 3 is the constant. Then you set out your division in this way. Now, to do the division, the first value, which is the coefficient of x cubed, you write it at the bottom here as it is. Then you multiply it by the first value that you have, which is 1 in my case. 1 times 1. The answer that you get, you write it under the next value. So 1 times 1 is 1. We're going to write 1 here. Then these two numbers, you add them. Minus 3 plus 1, we get a minus 2, a negative 2. Then we multiply again this factor times negative 2. The answer that we get, we write it under the next column. That's 1 times negative 2, I get negative 2. So my negative 2 is written under the next column. I'm talking about this negative 2 here that I'm flashing there. Then I add those two numbers and write the answer at the bottom. Then I multiply that answer again, and the value that I get, I add that one under the next column and add those two numbers. My final answer must be 0. Now, if x minus 1 is a factor of this expression, it means the other factor must be a quadratic expression. So we can now say f of x is equal to x minus 1, factor of ax squared plus bx plus c. These three numbers at the bottom here that we just got, these numbers are the values of a, b, and c respectively. A is 1, b is negative 2, and c is negative 3. You substitute those numbers, and then finally we factorize this quadratic part to produce our required three factors. We have now factorized fully. We want to solve for f of x is equal to 0. It simply means equating these three brackets to 0, and that will give us three values for x. Our division is done, synthetic division, as a method of factorization. I must highlight that the numbers that we get after doing this, the values of x, if we were to draw the graph of f, these three numbers would be the x-intercepts of the function. The x is negative 1, x is positive 1, x is equal to 3. Those are the x-intercepts of the equation or of the graph. So to recap, the first value we write in our synthetic division is the one coming from the factor of the function. Then these other four numbers are the coefficients of this expression. You bring the first one down, you multiply, add the answer in the next column, then add. Multiply, write the answer in the next column, add. So the cycle is bring the first one down, then multiply, add the answer in the next column, add. Multiply, write the answer, 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 add. That is the cycle you are following, and your synthetic division will be done successfully. All right. Let me show you another example maybe. So this one I'll just go through it quickly because I already have written the answers here. I want to factorize this, and I don't have any one factor that is given. So if I don't have any one factor that is given, I check the last value and consider numbers that can be divided into that number without leaving a remainder, which means I need the factors of 3. I ask myself which numbers can be divided into 3 without leaving a remainder. Then I test those numbers. Just trial and error. Get your calculator, test them, substitute those numbers into f of x, and the answer that you get must be 0. Then you know you've got your first factor. So I tested minus 1 myself, and minus 1 into x will give me 0, so my division will be done with negative 1. Then the other four numbers are the coefficients of your equation, the 2, the minus 5, minus 4, and 3. Then to start the division, the first value, which is the coefficient of x cubed, you write that one down here as it is. then you multiply it. From there, you now carry on with the cycle of multiply, write the answer under the next column, add, multiply, write the answer under the next column, add, multiply, write the answer under the next column, add, multiply, write the answer under the next column, add, and the last one must equal to 0. The three numbers that I get here are the factors of the quadratic part of my factored form. Then that quadratic part must be factorized into two more brackets. Then I'm done with my factorization. Where they require me to solve this when f of x is equal to 0, it will simply be expressing these brackets as equal to 0, and then you can read the values of x from there. X is -1, x is 3, and x is equal to 1 over 2. These three numbers are the x-intercepts of my equation. This method of factorization is called synthetic division. Blessings to you guys. I hope that helps someone. If anything, don't hesitate to let me know. I don't mind assisting. We've got notes and worksheets and different materials that you can use to make sure that your learning gets better and produces desired results. Blessings to all of you. We'll see you in the next video.